Today, we're going to compare two phone cameras with 1-inch sensors, the Oppo Find X6 Pro versus the Xiaomi 13 Ultra.
So as you may know, the Xiaomi has two different color profiles. You got the Leica Authentic and Leica Vibrant. Of course, there's a little bit difference, but if you do like the more realistic colors, then go with Authentic. But there is a huge con is that the HDR or the highlights are pretty overexposed in some certain areas. So if you're indoors and you really have a bright background, then the Vibrant color profile will be better. So since these color profiles have their own strengths and weaknesses, you would have to think about when to use them in the right situation. Now comparing the Xiaomi 13 Ultra and the Oppo Find X6 Pro, they're both really good phones, they both take really great pictures, and I will say though, the Oppo Find X6 Pro will perform better or more consistent in terms of HDR pictures. For me, I am leaning towards the Leica Authentic colors just because I do like them better, where the Oppo Find X6 Pro, from my eyes, it seems like a regular HDR photo, where I can kind of get towards or get closer to that look just using the Leica Vibrant color profile. So I feel like I do have more options on the Xiaomi in terms of the color and how I want it to look, but then for the regular consumers, it might be too cumbersome for them because they would have to think about when to use them, what color profile. They just want to shoot and make it look good or have a good photo, so I can see why they would lean towards the Oppo instead. Now both of these phones can shoot from ultra wide all the way up to 120x. Now when you're shooting in ultra wide either in photo or video, the Xiaomi 13 Ultra does look wider. And from wide to all the way up to around 5 to 6x, they both look pretty similar in terms of quality. I would say anywhere beyond 10x, 30x, and obviously 120x, which doesn't look that great, you can see more of the sharpening effect happening on the Oppo, which can be a huge pro in some circumstances where if you just want to zoom all the way in to see a text or like a sign or something, that extra sharpening effect will help you be able to read the words. But if you just want to take a picture of some random item or something like that, it may be not even be worth zooming all the way up to 120x. The Xiaomi 13 Ultra does have variable aperture from f1.9 to f4.0, so if you take pictures of food, which you want everything in focus, the f4.0 is really helpful, but if you want to take something like in your hands and you don't mind having a blurry background, then the 1.9 will be really beneficial. And since they both have a 1-inch sensor, you just naturally get more background blur if you take pictures up close. So since the Oppo doesn't have that feature, you are pretty much stuck having some parts of your food to be blurry. For low light, I think more consumers are going to lean towards the Oppo just because they can see more in the shadows where it just looks like it's a brighter photo. Now with this set of pictures, I'm not sure if it's a one-time thing, but the white balance theme seems to be off on Oppo where the lady or the cup is supposed to be more on the orange side like the Xiaomi. And you can see the sharpening effect happening on the Oppo where the brick starts to show, it pops out more, and you can see the texture. Now if you're moving towards darker areas like a park or something where you don't see a lot of lights from buildings and cars, like I mentioned before, you can see more in the shadows. But then again, it does look like a typical HDR photo where the Xiaomi is leaning towards like a realistic look. And once you reach to the 5x telephoto lens, it doesn't open up as much, so the pictures will be a lot darker. Now let's say when you're indoors taking pictures of your meal, I would say the Xiaomi will still give you a more realistic look, where the Oppo seems to have a lot of boost in the saturation. And even in the Leica Vibrant profile, it just gives like a warmer look to it. So let's say looking at the red hot sauce, what is closest to the eye is the Xiaomi, either in both the Authentic or Vibrant color profile, where on the Oppo on the other hand, it's like super bright red, where it does not look like that in real life at all. For the Xiaomi, it does have a full body mode where I'm going to treat it as a 1x and the zoom in to be 3x. Whereas on Oppo, you do have 1x, 2x, and 3x, so it's quicker to choose between these lenses when you're taking photos. On a Xiaomi, you still have the option to choose between like a Vibrant and Authentic when you're taking portrait mode pictures. I think the Authentic does look a lot like it's edited. You can see the whole vignetting or the darker look, where the Vibrant color profile just looks like a typical HDR photo. On the Oppo, it seems to have more of that natural look, but sometimes I think the shadows can be too dark and the highlights can be a bit too overexposed. So I think if Oppo has that part fixed, those pictures will look super close to the eye. Now going back to the Leica authentic and vibrant color profile, sometimes they're not always super consistent because there are times where I take pictures in the Leica authentic, those pictures seems to look a little bit too vibrant. So it's not always consistent where the Leica authentic color profile will always have that darker shadowy look. Now the Xiaomi 13 Ultra does have that master lens system in portrait mode, which is pretty fun to change the background blur and in being able to use common focal lengths to take portrait pictures. Now I like them all except for the 90mm soft focus effect, where I think is really for the aesthetic look. Now for shooting video, ultra wide, as you can tell, is much wider on the Xiaomi, and for this clip I can see just a bit more in the shadows. And with this clip the sun came out and it seems like I can see more in the shadows on the Oppo now. When we move to the wide lens, it seems like the same thing happening with the ultra wide. When it's cloudy, I can see a lot more in the shadows on the Xiaomi. And when it's sunny, the shadows are more exposed on the Oppo. Now when you're zooming into 5 and 6x, they both look pretty good. So for everyday uses where you need to zoom in to record something, it's gonna look pretty decent. Now if you happen to use max zoom, the Oppo does not look as good. You can see it's noisy and it's not as clean. Now shooting low light with the ultra wide, for some reason the stabilization seems to have gotten worse, because if you've seen the ultra wide before and during daytime, they both look pretty even. And as you can tell, it's also darker. Now for the wide lens, it seems like the Oppo is having trouble getting the background exposed. As you can tell, the gas station is super bright, but on the Xiaomi you can see a lot more details. Maybe I was too far, so I did like a pan to see if I can get an exposure change, yet the Xiaomi is still doing a bit better. So I'm going to end with some selfies here. They both take really good photos and videos. I think it really comes down to the colors. So if you want to see any comparisons with these phones, I do have them compared to other phones, so I'll put them up on the screen now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.